Well, alright. Welcome to another one of BumpmyStump's World of Tanks console videos. We're going to do a garage series video. We've done up to tier 8. And then we went back and I did a recap of tanks that I've gotten since I did the 1 through 8 videos. Because I've been doing this. My plan was to do like just 4 videos really quick and get it out there. And it's just, I can't, with the kids around and everything else, a lot of times I don't have time. See, when I narrate a video, I can pause it and clip out something if I mess up this or that. This I do it live, so it's a little harder to clip stuff out. So if I get 30 minutes into it, get on the last 3 tanks or whatever, runs in and says, ah, blah, 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 blah. Start all over. So I got to try to find time when they're not around to do it. And tonight, they're at Grammy's. Well, one's camping with a friend, the other one's at their grandparents, and the house is pretty quiet, so I'm going to try to get a garage video out for you. So we'll see what happens. Tier 9. Right now it's August of 16, and we'll try to get tier 9 done tonight, and that means should have it uploaded in a week or so. Should be uploaded by September, hopefully. If you're hearing this, it is not September yet. And yeah, let's just get right to it. First tier 9 medium that I ever had was the M46 Patton. I went everything. Went American heavies first, and then mediums, and then tank destroyers. Or I think I did heavies and tank destroyers together. But I wanted the M46 Patton because it's pretty decent. It's got its weaknesses. The speed, at the time when I went up the line, I didn't know it had its weaknesses compared to, but the gun doesn't do quite as much damage, and the tank isn't quite as quick. It's not great at anything, but it's good at just about everything. It's just a really good average tank. Good gun depression, decent turret. The 46 has small cupolas, unlike the 48, which has this huge cupola up top. The gun is fairly accurate. I'll go through the stats really quick. 102 millimeters of armor on the front, 102 on the turret, 64 and 76 on the sides. The standard penetration with the gun I have on it right now is 164 to 273, and the damage is 293 to 488. That jumps up to 199 to 333 for pen on the APCR. And if you look at the other mediums in this line, the standard ammo on a Centurion 7.1 and the AMX 30B is around 200 on standard ammo. So you only get 200 on the low roll on premium ammo in this tank. So again, when I went up it originally, I didn't realize there was that big of a difference, but there is. It's got 1,700 hit points, 48 kilometer per hour speed limit, 820 horsepower engine, so it moves okay. 38 chassis rotation and 40 turret rotation, and just shy of 7 rounds a minute. So in the 410 view range, that is what's really good about this tank. It's got an awesome view range. You had when I went up through it, I had a better crew in it. You'll see a lot of these tanks don't have great crews in them because I move them up. And I bebop them around. If like if I'm doing the Centurion 7.1 and I start doing a different British tank, and I don't play the Centurion that much, I might pop that crew right out, drop in something else, and just put a crap crew in these tanks. So if you see a crap crew in it, that's why. The standard loadout of consumables: small repair, small first aid, and a manual fire extinguisher, gun rammer, stabilizer. Pretty much your standard, standard deal on this tank. You look through the packages really quick, and you'll see that it starts off with a 90 millimeter, and then you get choice of other 90 millimeters, and then you get up to the 105, and the 105 to me is where it's at. I didn't like any of the guns before it, and I feel that this tank, when you compare it to the other tier 9 mediums, it has to have the 105 on it, or it's just pretty much trash. But it's a cool looking tank. Even the camo, I think Americans have one of the better camo patterns for overall for the whole bunch of them. And when you get the dark one like that, it's pretty mean looking. That's pretty sick. So yeah, and I even like the logos on the side for the American, the star. You'll see when I get to the AMX, I changed my logos because I couldn't stand the French logo on that. It looks so homely. It's looking at you like a parrot or something. But anyways, T-5041. This is, I originally completely skipped this tank. I wanted the T-57, I did the T-69, and I was like, I don't want to do another medium at tier 9, I just don't want to do it. So I completely skipped this tank, got the T-57, liked it, that was before the nerfs, and went back later and said, you know something, I want the T-50, I want to play it. You know, I know I skipped it originally, but I did go back and grab it, and played up through it. It's a pretty good tank. The auto loader, I haven't played it a lot. I say it's a pretty good tank, and usually when it's a pretty good tank, I play a lot of tanks. And I usually play a tank more and more and more. You know, even if I don't play it, it's not what I'm grinding, I still go back and play it. I haven't played this tank for a while, but I haven't played a lot of these tanks for a while because I've been grinding other mediums. So, and a year and a half ago, I used to play this game 3 hours a night, easily. Nowadays, I'm lucky if I put in an hour a night. And that's maybe 3 nights a week. Just the teams, and I don't know if it's just the teams, or, I mean, you've heard me complain about it in my videos, whether it's just the teams or it's matchmaking or whatever, it's just not as fun. Even back then, you used to have the one-sided routes every once in a while, but nowadays it's every game. But it's 8 out of 10 games. One team or the other routes the other side. Either you're on the team that routes or you're on the team that gets routed. And then there's 2 games out of the 10 that are decent games. And that's just not fun. And I don't know what happened with World of Tanks. I don't know when it went in the shitter and that started happening. I don't understand it. I don't know why they can't. People on the forums say that, you know, you can't do skill-based matchmaking because then it'll all screw up everything. You know, there has to be something better than what it is right now. You know, it just has to be. But anyways, I'll get back to the tanks. This video is already going to be too long, so because I do have 16 tanks to go through. So we'll go to the packages: 90mm, 90mm, and then 105. And just like the M46, the 105 is where it's at. The 90s, some people actually play this with the 90, because if I'm not mistaken, 173 240 and 210 390. The 105, you don't get the ammo choice you do on the lower one. You got a slower reload, obviously, and the smaller clip. With this one, you get a bigger clip per reload, and it can make a big difference. If you play it more like a I should say this, if I went back to play this tank for a while, I might put the 90 on it and see how I do. Back when I ground this tank, I didn't like playing mediums. I didn't like, you know, being the sneaky bitch and coming around and flanking all the time, and now I'm getting more used to it, and it's fun. So I might go back and try to play this with a 90 and see how it goes. Whoops, that ain't what I wanted. I wanted this one right here. 110 millimeters of armor, 127 on the turret, 7670, typical American, 158 to 263 pen with standard ammo, and 191 to 319 pen with premium. You can see I have 24 premium shells because this tank really needs that extra penetration. And when you get tier 9s and 10s and you only, on a low roll, it's 158, it just sucks. You know, you angle a tank like this with the front of 110 millimeters of armor and you can't go through it. So, you know, it really sucks. So, you know, I have a lot of premium, and that's just how I played this tank. Hit points was 10 acceleration, 44 kilometers per hour, yeah, 5.3 rounds a minute, 400 meter view range, and below average camo. It's a pretty big tank. I don't think it's much bigger than the Patton, and the Patton has a high camo value, and below average anyways. And this is below average. I think the numbers are kind of messed up, but you know, whatever. M103. Everyone loves the M103, correct? I didn't like this tank, and call me superficial or whatever. I didn't like this tank when I had to grind through it because I hated the looks of that turret. My God, is that butt ugly. Even the camo can't fix that. So freaking huge. Odd shape. Just why, man, why? However, playing this tank, as you can see, I got a decent crew in it right now. Playing this tank after playing all kinds of other nations. Like I said, I did all the Americans first, and I had nothing to base anything else on. But after playing other nations and going back and playing the 103 once in a while, this tank is a monster. It really is. When you get held down, wiggle that turret a little bit, just keep the turret wiggling, and you can just keep that, because the cupola is so far back on the turret. If you wiggle your turret side to side, that cupola moves quite a bit. Where the cupola is near the middle, sort of, and when you turn, it really doesn't move the cupola much. This one really moves because of how far back it is from the pivot of the turret. The pivot of the turret is underneath, like the black line in the center of the turret. So with that cupola way back there, when you are looking at it from above and you're going like this, it's moving that much, you know what I mean? So you can really keep people from hitting that cupola. And if they can't hit the cupola, this thing is a monster hull down. We standard large caliber gun rammer, vertical stabilizers, and vents, small pair, small first aid, and fire extinguisher. 194 to 323 standard ammo, and then 255 to 425 for premium. It's got the heat round, so that really makes a difference in this tank. And I carry 10 of them. I don't carry a ton, but yeah, this tank is fun. 203 for front armor, 254 for turret, front of the turret. A very low camo, but you know, whatever. It's got a 390 view range, which isn't bad for a heavy. It's not great at tier 9. 400 is pretty much a standard, but the gun is really good. The gun on this makes a tank worth playing. It's a really good tank. Anyone that hasn't gone up the American line should go up it. It's a really good tank. You can see my crew skills on this one. We'll go through them really quick because I actually have a decent crew in this one. Not great, but decent. You see, I'm training clutch braking, but I got brothers in arms, sixth sense, pain tolerance, repairs, smooth ride, track mechanic. So you know, it's not a bad crew. Not the best crew I have, but definitely not a bad crew. When I do decide to take this tank out, I like having a decent crew in it because the tank is really decent. So it's a keeper in my book, anyways. T-30. This is the sweet spot for the American turreted tank destroyers. I like the E4, don't get me wrong, but this one right here is this is a monster. With the 155mm gun, you know, when you can lay down 700 to 850, or I'll get the exact figures. When I originally played the game, one of the first premium tanks I bought was the T-34, and this tank with this gun right here, this 120 AT-53, yeah, the 120, it's pretty much a T-34. That's what it is. And so I knew how to play it like a heavy, because you play the T-34 like a heavy. Once you get this gun, it's a complete different beast. I don't think out of the tank destroyers I had played at the time, and I can't speak on it lately because I haven't played it lately, but at the time, this tank destroyer made people back up more than any of the other ones I had. People would see this and you'd instantly see them back up. And it's the same with the turret. On the 103, the cupola is so far in the back, if you wiggle it, it moves quite a ways side to side. So all you gotta do is move your turret, you know, like this, just a little bit back and forth, and that cupola moves quite a bit, so it's hard to hit. It's low anyways, and you've got that huge mantlet. You get this thing hull down and keep that turret wiggling, and it just can, outside of the slow reload, it can really punish the red team. Oops, this is the one I want. 207 to 345 for standard penetration, 240 to 400 for premium. The premium isn't that much better than the standard, but it is better. And you know, gun rammer, gun lane, drive, and vents, and then small, and manual. Only 102 for front hull armor, but 279 for front turret armor. And then, you know, you have that big mantlet there, and the sloping, and it's awesome hull down. Everything else about it, you know, you only get 2.8 rounds a minute, which sucks. Turret rotation 18 degrees, which sucks. Chassis rotation 22 degrees, which sucks. The idea, you really don't play this like a tank destroyer. Play this like a heavy. Don't run around in front and try to brawl, you know, like a Russian tank, but play like behind the frontliners. Come out, unleash your 155 millimeter shell, get back, reload, come out, ruin someone else's day. It's a really awesome tank. It can do both. It can do tank destroyer and it can do play the pseudo heavy role. So try both once you get it. If you haven't got it yet, and see which way it works better for you. It's just really good tank. Really good. Centurion 7.1 onto the British medium. The 7.1. This was my first medium that I really loved, and I haven't played it in the last couple weeks, but I played it a lot a couple months ago, and I'll keep it because I took the crew out, stuck it in the 4202. But this tank is outside of the slow burst, like turning. Other than that, this tank is really good. I wish I had played it before they nerfed the turret, because I couldn't imagine this, you know, creeping over hills with the gun depression and stuff, and the damage output, and having a turret that would really bounce stuff. As it is, it still bounces a little bit, but I couldn't imagine it with a really good turret. It just must have been awesome. The reload's kind of crap, only 5 rounds a minute, but you do have, you know, your damage is 300, just about 300 to 488 with standard shells, and then you put the premium, which is hash, and you got a flat surface, and you do 360 to 600 per shot, so you can really dish out some damage. I mean, yes, the penetration's lower, but still, if you have a tank that you got the side of or something else, and you have that hash loaded, you can really do a number on them quick. Gun rammer, vents, and stabilizer, small and manual as per usual. 1700 hit points. It's not bad. The 40 kilometer per hour speed limit kind of hurts it. The chassis rotation is good enough. The turret rotation is good. The rate of fire, 5 rounds a minute. It makes a big difference when you get to the AMX 30B, and it goes from, you get like 3 rounds a minute, something like that. It's actually a big difference. It drops it from 9 seconds to like 6.7 or something, and it really does make a huge difference in laying down the lead at the red. But you know, this one's still an amazing tank. 410 meters of view range, and it can really do a number on the red team when you play it right. Conqueror, pretty much a better version of this. No, I shouldn't say that. But the Conqueror, I love the Conqueror. Some people didn't like it. Some people said, you know, oh, it's not that good. Same thing with the American. See how far the cupola is back? It's got a fairly decent sized cupola, but it is angled. But see how far it's back? So again, you wiggle that turret, and you got them angles on that turret. It's all angles. And then you wiggle that cupola, and you can get a lot of bounces that you wouldn't think you would. This tank is the reload is good, not great, but it's good. You know, you're talking almost 6 rounds a minute. So this is more like the AMX 30B reload, and I loved the reload on this. I think it worked really good. I always thought, oh, this is fast reload, this is awesome. It's not super fast, but it is good. Just shy of 2,000 hit points, 34 kilometer top speed, 26 degree chassis rotation is a little low, but the turret rotation is good, so you can combine the two together to get it to spin around pretty quick. 130 millimeters of hull armor and 254 of turret. So there, once again, like the American 103, the turret can really bounce some shells. I used 20 standard ammo, 11 of the 80 APDS, which whatever that stands for, I have no idea what it stands for. Find someone that knows more about tanks. But you know, you get just about 200 to 324 pen with standard ammo and 300 to 500 damage, and you up that to 245 to 408 for pen with the premium. So, you know, this gun can really lay down some fire for your team. Gun rammer, vents, and stabilizer, small and manual, just like the last one. You'll see that a lot on my, until I get to tier 10, I pretty much run small everything. So you'll see I'll go over the crew on this one because it's got a decent crew in it. Working on clutch braking, track mechanic, repairs, sixth sense, safe stowage, brothers in arms, snapshot. You know, do you need the safe storage in this tank? Yeah, it does get ammo racked on occasion, so instead of running, you know, wet ammo rack, it's just easy, and it does good enough that way. You'll notice I have track repairs and repairs because this tank, you can creep out around the corner, lay something into something. If it gets tracked, they can put rounds right into the corner and damage it like a lot of tanks. And your turret is somewhat far back. I mean, it's not way back, but it's not, you know, you understand. It's like compact towards the front, so you have to come out around a corner quite a bit to get that gun to, you know, to go around a corner. So that's the reason I have both track, you know, repairs and track repairs, because I don't like using the repair kit on tracks if I don't have to. So that's just pretty much the same with any tank for the most part. But yeah, some people don't like the Conqueror. I think it's an excellent tank. Excellent. Leopard PTA. Awesome. Awesome. Can't stress the word awesome enough. This tank is just, I don't know why I'm going to go on another rant here. So many people in the forums complain about top tier tank destroyers being overpowered and unbalanced and broken is the buzzword. They're broken. This tank is broken. If I know the waffle, if it clips you, it sucks. But this tank right here is so freaking quick. I mean, if you can't get around a waffle in this thing, if you can't figure out a way to wait, let the battle, shoot other tanks for a few minutes, shoot the rest. And then when you can get a chance to break and get around the waffle and just rape him, if you can't do it in this tank, I'm not saying you can do it every time. I'm not saying it's like the easiest thing in the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a great medium player. But this tank, it's not hard to do. Tier 9 mediums are, I think, the best tanks in the game that I've played. Out of all tiers, everything. The Tier 9 medium, this tank, and the 30B, and even the Centurion to a point, best tanks in the game. That's just me. Whatever, I could be, you know, pretty much talking out my ass, I guess. That's just my opinion. Your results may vary. I don't worry about it. Unless I'm on a city map and I come around a corner and he just clips me, then it sucks. But I don't rage about it. He's part of the tank. You just need to think that's part of the game. You know, that's like raging when a T-92 hits you. It sucks, but it's part of the game. It's like raging when, you know, they complain about the waffle clipping everyone. But I mean, you get hit by a Jagdpanzer E100, and what's that do? 1,000 damage? 900,000? I mean, hell, that's over half your health. Boom, gone. All top tier tank destroyers are overpowered. But if they weren't there, then the mediums would just rape every other tank in the game because they're that good. Anyways, back to the tanks. This tank, the camo is awesome too. Everything about this tank is just outside of the armor. But with a speed like this, who needs armor? When you can go from forward to reverse, and you can pull up, take a shot, and back up quicker than someone can aim their gun, you know, it takes less than 2 seconds. Sure, sometimes it lets you down, you get hit when, you know, you're playing stupid or you didn't know someone was off somewhere else and they peg you in the side or whatever, but you really don't need armor in this tank. Would it be better with a little bit of armor? Sure. But that's what the AMX 30B is for. I mean, 31 ER. So, let's get into Leopard here. 201 to 335 standard penetration. 248 to 413 for heat. 300 to 488 for damage. And you're shooting 5.4 rounds a minute. I mean, that's like what? 5.4 rounds would be 8.5 seconds, 8 point something seconds. 400 meter view range, average camo, 42 degrees chassis rotation, 36-degree turret rotation. So in other words, this thing can spin around in a circle quicker than it's for a bigger sized medium. It is super fast. Speed limit of 65 kilometers. Hit points of 1650. That's the one. You only got 70 millimeters of armor on the front, 52 on the turret. It'd be nice if the turret was 70 as well. It kind of sucks that the side of the turret has a little bit more armor than the front. I think if they put the turret armor up to, gave this 1700 hit points, it would just be unstoppable. But again, my opinion, your results may vary. Small, and manual. Gun rammer, stabilizer, and vents. The typical. The crew in this, I've kept in the tank. And it's going to be typical medium loadout for me anyways. Working on clutch braking, smooth ride, brother's arms, sixth sense, safe stowage, snapshot, off-road driving. All things that make this tank quicker. And the quicker you can make this tank at turning, shooting, aiming, spinning around, getting out of dodge, the less the armor really matters. This tank is, this is a tank I won't sell. I never wanted to go up this line, never had the urge to do it, but I am so glad I finally did, because the Indian Panzer is awesome. This is awesome, and I've got the Leopard now because of the on-track event. I bought it, I don't know, probably a week ago, 5 days ago. Haven't even played it yet. Haven't even played it yet because I don't want to be depressed because this one was so good. I don't want to get to the Leopard and be like, really, it's no upgrade. And it probably isn't. It really probably, because most tier 10s aren't much of an upgrade over the tier 9. However, on track, it was on sale. Gotta buy it. I mean, I'm a tank collector. You gotta buy it. So, but this tank right here, awesome tank. Awesome, awesome, awesome. 5 awesomes. E75. Haven't played, but this is the tier 9 side scraping king of the game. Still got an okay crew in it. The crew that was in it actually, I think, went into the Leopard series. I think I took the crew that was in this, dropped it down to the Indian Panzer, and then changed it around, and now it's in the Leopard PTA, if I remember correctly. So in this crew, I don't remember where this crew came from or what the deal was. Maybe this was the no, you know something? This was the crew in this tank. The crew I did the Leopard with was the B, 4502B. Okay, yeah. So this tank is your typical E75 German heavy, side scrape the hell out of it and win the game. I didn't have a ton of great games in this tank. I always seemed to get a turd team when I played this tank. Always. I mean, I had a few decent ones, but no really. I mean, I'd have ones that I had, 5,000-6,000 damage, and we lost because the whole team did nothing. And if you get in a place where you can side scrape this and the enemy team can't get around you, you can hold the whole, unless the enemy team blitzes you, and then you're screwed. But if they're not too smart, and if they're not smart enough just to bum rush you, let's say there's 3 of them there and they're not smart enough to just run out and get you, you can hold a whole flank by yourself with this, because it'll just, the tracks and the side will just eat shells and you won't take any damage. So awesome tank. The gun in it, 185 to 308 penetration for standard rounds, 233 to 389. And then you look at the Leopard. Now pay attention to that. Tier 9 heavy. Look at those figures. Now look at the tier 9 medium. You get 15 more bottom end penetration, and what? 27 on top end of penetration in a medium than a heavy. I don't understand why the mediums have such good guns. I don't get it. I'm glad they do, because now it's fun. But I never realized that when I didn't play them, because I was used to the American one, and the American one ain't much better. It's pretty much on par with this gun. And until I got the Centurion, I didn't even realize how much penetration and damage the tier 9 medium guns did on certain tanks. So I think, like I said, back to the complete people complaining, the medium lovers complaining about top tier tank destroyers. You ought to take a look at your own guns, because when a Leopard gun is better than an E75 gun at everything, rate of fire, everything, but damage output. The damage output on the E75 is better. 613 up to 613 for a standard round. So that is better. But the low of 368. 293, you're only 60, 70 hit points more on a low roll. So, I didn't get many rolls over 500 in this tank either. It was rare. Most of them were in the 400s when I played the E75. When I got a 520, I was like, yeah. I think I've said this in another video. I don't think I ever got anything over 600. Ever. Never in this tank. Fives, I think, was the highest roll, like 550, 540. And I was like styling at that. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But it should go higher. And, maybe I just got unlucky, I guess. But the armor of 160, 252 on the turret, 160 on the sides of the turret, and 120 on the sides of the tank. This is a side-scraping monster. 1200 horsepower engine. Your chassis rotation, your turret rotation sucks, but then again, it's not supposed to be good. Do you know what I mean? But you look at the E75, 1920 for hit points, 1600. That's why I think this one should have. If this one had 1750, it would just be way OP, I guess. Large gun rammer, gun laying drive, a little bit different on this one. The laying drive instead of the vertical stabilizers. And the vents, small and manual. You really don't need the vertical stabilizers on this tank because you're pretty much getting to a corner, parking your ass and shooting. So, still really good tank. Really good tank. E75 is a really good tank. 3502B. No crew in this one right now because, like I said, I pulled it out and put it in the mediums. This tank has one of the highest armor values at this tier. 200 millimeters on the front and it's sloped. 252 for turret, 160 for side of turret, 100 for the side of the hull, 160 for the back of the turret. The really thing that lets us down, for me anyways, is the rear mounted turret. I love the rear mounted, I don't love it, but I'm okay with the rear mounted turret on the FV 215B British tier 10 because it's quicker. The tank's quicker, so you can come out, shoot, and get back out of dodge. This one, you can't. You can try to side scrape, but you have to come out so far to get that turret out around the corner. That it needs the armor. So, the chassis rotation and the turret rotation suck. Rate of fire kind of sucks. But it does have a 400 meter view range. And a 30 kilometer per hour speed limit, which isn't, definitely could be a lot better, but it could be worse too. So, yeah, the standard 185 to 308 penetration, 233 to 389, and your damage is like the E75, mid 3s to 600. Wow, but I've kept it because it was a fun tank. It did its own and it did its job. So I liked it. Liked it much better than the Mouse. Much better tank than the Mouse. So Waffle Jr. You'll notice I don't have a crew in it because I took the crew out and stuck it in the Leopard. I had a pretty decent crew in this. I think I had 7 or 8 skills, and I took it out and stuck it in the Leopard once I bought the Leopard because I didn't have a crew for the Leopard and I did not want to pull the crew out of the PTA. So I figured the Waffle doesn't, it's nice to have the crew that has the camo and everything else. Base or crew in this, what I'll do is I'll put this crew in it and I will play it on some premiums, and this tank doesn't need Going back to the, I got rid of the French little eyes there and put the stars on there because the little eyes just are stupid looking right there. They look like buggy eyes on the side of the turret. This tank right here is, who needs a heavy? Granted, you don't have the armor of a heavy, obviously, but you don't need it. This thing is quick enough, it's fast enough, it's mobile enough, it turns, it spins, the turret turns quick enough. Everything about this tank is awesome. Everything, except for the armor. But everything else, this is just the epitome of my favorite tank right now. This is it, man. This tank is awesome. And I skipped everything to get to it. I never went up the bat chat line, never touched any tanks in the bat chat line. When this came out, I looked at it and I said, geez, I want it. And I was like, I don't want to be a person that skips the whole line, though. That's just so cheesy. But then I said, you know something? I have no desire to play any of them tanks. I have no desire to play them. And I'm not going to sit there and force myself to do something I don't want to do. I'm just not going to do it. So I just skipped it. I had a bunch of free XP. I think I put, I don't know, $45 or something, $40 with it to convert XP. And I just skipped the whole line. I'm so glad I did, because this tank is just, this tank is the shit. 80 millimeters of armor, 80 millimeters of turret armor, 40 and 30 on the sides, 195 to 325 standard pen, and just about 300 to 488 for damage, just like the Leopard. 240 to 400 premium ammo penetration, and again 293 to 488 for damage dealt. Gun rammer, vertical stabilizers, vents, small, and strong coffee on this one. I've played this tank, I don't know, 40 or 50 games probably, and never been caught on fire once. So, as I had, I don't know, 40 of these sitting there, strong coffees, I don't buy them, they're just ones that I've won over the time. There's 40 or 45 of them sitting there. And I said, you know something, I'm gonna do that. So I stuck strong coffee on it, and I haven't yet to play it yet with strong coffee. I don't know, I'll probably be caught on fire the first time I get hit, you watch. 1650 for hit points, another one that if this had 1700 hit points, 1750, it'd just be that much better. It would just be awesome. Speed limit 65, 720 horsepower motor, so it gets out of its own way. Not as good as a Leopard, not as quick and as nimble as a Leopard PTA, but still awesomely fast. Chassis rotation of 36 degrees, again slower than the PTA. I think the PTA was what, 40 something, 44. Turret rotation is 44 though, so that's awesome. You combine the two to spin around. If you need to spin around quick, just turn and turn the turret at the same time. 6 rounds a minute, so 6.6 rounds per minute, so the reload is good enough. It's decent. It's definitely okay. Much better than the 5.7 rounds of the Leopard and the 5 rounds or whatever it was of the Centurion 7.1. Really just fast. I wish it was just a little bit faster. That's why I put the coffee on there, just a little bit. If I can knock another 2/3 of a second or something off, it's going to be just awesome. Camouflage is average, yeah, whatever. You'll see on my crew skills though, you'll see I put preventative maintenance off. I took, I don't know which one it was, but I took one off, smooth ride I think, maybe, and changed it to preventive maintenance when I put the coffee on. I figured I want to try to keep myself from catching on fire, and I'm worried that the minute I took the fire extinguisher off, I hardly ever get caught on fire. I have 700 and something small fire extinguishers in stock because I never get caught on fire. I mean, it's very rare. But you watch, the minute I pull it off this, I'll get caught on fire. So that's why I changed that skill out. But yeah, this tank, look at it. Look at that camo pattern. This is, I don't know. I can't. It's almost as good as sex. Whoops. For all you kiddos out there, cover your ears. You didn't hear that last part. Not quite, but almost. T-54. This is the medium that everyone medium in the game. It's a good medium, don't get me wrong. But the gun only doing 240 damage to 400. And when you see 240 to 400, you see the AMX is 293 to 488. Not that much better, right? But the problem is I personally seem to always get low rolls in this. I don't think I've ever got anything over a 320. I think 320, which is average, it's in my ballpark. I might get 326, 328, 331. I've never got any 400s in this tank that I can recall, or even anything remotely close to it. I think the people that play this tank that think it is the cat's meow, do they have a reason? Yeah, it's decent. It's got a really good turret. It's got 7.3 rounds a minute, which is good. You're talking, what, 6 point something seconds, I think, for a reload. View range of 390, which is, yeah, a little low. Camouflage is average, but you got 48-degree chassis and 44-degree turret, so that's quick. 56 km/h speed limit, so that's quick. 120 armor on the front and 200 on the turret, so that's decent. That's better than the other mediums. I mean, you drop 80 and 80, a lot more armor there, and it's a lot smaller turret too, a lot smaller turret. But the gun, for me, it just doesn't seem reliable enough. You see, I have 20 premium rounds because that 164 to 274, I get a lot of the 164 rolls for I don't know how many times I've bounced off tanks that have 110 millimeters of armor or something, and I can't penetrate them with standard rounds. And everyone has that problem with this tank. That's known, in everyone talks about it. You run premium in this tank, that's fine. But it just, for some reason, this tank is not nearly as fun for me as the AMX 30, the Leopard PTA, or the Centurion 7.1. Maybe that's just because I'm a shitty medium player, but all three of them tanks I like better than the T-54. Yeah. Again, your results may vary. Gun rammer, stabilizer, and vents, small, and fire extinguisher. So yeah, the typical loadout of medium stuff. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad tank. I don't hate it. If someone said, we're going to give you can either have a T-54 free, or you got to pay $30 for AMX 30. I'd pay the $30 for AMX 30 in the game. If one was a premium, just exactly laid out the way they are, and I could have the T-54 absolutely free, or I had to pay $30 for the AMX, I'd buy the AMX because it's just that much better for me. Again, probably just my playstyle. I don't know, but it just seems like it works better for me. ST1, as everyone calls it, the ST1. Nope. A 1 looks like a number 1. STI. If that was a Roman numeral, it would look like a Roman numeral. Doesn't. STI. Again, that's based on completely shit. Everyone calls it the ST1. I just don't. I look at the Russian line, and there's only one tank with the Roman numerals in it, and that was a British tank that they captured or whatever. Or used, or lend-lease, or whatever it was. So, I think maybe there's 2, but here or there. I know I'm stubborn, but I still see it as the STI, and that's just how it's going to go. This tank right here, I think, is one of the best Tier 9 heavies. You get this hull down, and even though that turret is huge, it is a massive sponge. No, I shouldn't say sponge, because sponge soaks. No, sponge, it soaks up the damage and doesn't, you just don't. No, I should say rubber. I don't know. It bounces everything. It doesn't really soak it up, it bounces it. Amazing Tier 9 tank. A little slow. Reloads a little slow. But the gun is pretty accurate, and it just worked for me. I had a better crew in it. I moved the crew to something else. I don't remember what it was. But I still stuck a crew with a couple skills on it to put back in it, so when I do play it on occasion, at least I don't have a basement crew in it. 194 to 323 for standard penetration, 255 to 425 for premium, and they do 330 to 550 damage. Large gun rammer, gun lay and drive, vents, small, and manual. 140 for front hull armor, 250 for turret armor, 160 for the side of the turret, 140 for the side of the tank. 1900 hit points, 26-degree chassis rotation, yeah, slow, but not bad for heavy. The 18-degree turret rotation kind of sucks. That does suck. But, and the 4.5 rounds a minute kind of sucks too. But if you can get by them few things, really, really good. T110, the IS-8. I haven't played this a lot since I bought it back. I hated it when I ground it, and I actually skipped the last, I don't know, 60,000 XP or whatever to get to the IS-7. I liked the STI much better. However, now that I've been playing mediums more, I'm going to go back and play this a little bit more and see how it works out. 120 millimeters of front armor, 250 for the turret, and 201 for the sides of the turret, so that's good. 120 for the sides of the tank. You know, you got 194 to 323 for pen for standard, and 255 to 425 for pen for premium. 330 to 550 damage, so that's on par with the tier 9 mediums. It's pretty much the same range right there. It's just a slightly slower. You know, you got a 50-kilometer speed limit, 30-degree chassis, and 26-degree turret, which is serviceable, but not as good as the mediums. Rate of fire is 4.88, so you're under 5 rounds a minute, which kind of sucks. However, it's not supposed to be a medium. It's supposed to be a heavy, so you know, but you can't really play it like a heavy because it just, the armor lets you down. So I am going to try to go back and play it a little bit more and play it more like a medium and see how it works out, because that's what everyone says to do, play it like a medium. Well, we're going to see. I've kept it. I think it's one of the better looking tanks in the game, so definitely worth getting to go through it to get the IS-7, because the IS-7 is awesome. WZ-120, the WZ-120, pretty much a T-54 on steroids. We got the big gun in it. 7 to 311 for penetration, 330 to 550 for damage, 255 to 425 for premium pen, and 330 to 550 for damage on that gun too. Rammer, stabilizers, vents, you know, it's all the same stuff. Small and manual. 390 view range kind of lets it down. 5 rounds a minute kind of lets it down. But your turret and your chassis rotation of 42 and 46, good. You know, it's quick enough. 56 kilometer per hour speed limit is good enough. 1650 again, a little bit more health pool would be great. The accuracy of this gun kind of lets you down a little bit. When you go to look at the big cannon, you got 0.37 accuracy and a 3.4 aiming time. Yeah, the accuracy and aiming time lets this tank down. Other than that, it would be a really good tank. Now, whoops, let's go back to this right here. I have played it quite a bit with this gun, which is 290, and same accuracy drops from 340 to 290. Big difference. But your damage output, you know, being 320 for an average, that's pretty much the same as the T-54. But you do get a better rate of fire. I typically play with this 162 100T, but I've put the bigger gun on it to try it, and I've probably only played 5 or 6 games in it. I think I still like the 100mm better. But again, you know, if you don't try stuff once in a while, if you don't try something different, you just, what's the sense of doing stuff? If you gotta do the same thing over and over again, it just gets boring. The Wheezy 111-14, Chinese heavy, tier 9, awesome tank. 183 to 305 pen for the standard ammo, which is lower than the mediums at this level, which kind of sucks. You know, to have a heavy that does less penetration, is that broken as people complain about the tank destroyers? Who knows? 255 to 425 for penetration for the premium ammo, so that makes it much better, and the damage being 368 to 613, really good. I've had a few rolls, unlike the E75, I had to have a few high 500s, like 590, 585, and it always feels good when that happens. I have a wet ammo rack on this because, like I said to other people or in game, I think my first, I don't know, you have to go back to my videos because it's been a while, but the first 5-7 games I think I played in this, 5 ammo racks I got, and I think 3 of them I blew up instant, boom, dead, almost full health, boom, dead. So from that day forward, I stuck an ammo rack wet ammo rack on it, and I haven't really had any problems since then. The ammo rack issue is in the front of this tank, and it shows it in the turret. Now, you get hit in the front hull by your tracks in the corner, right hand side, usually, boom, you're ammo racked. It's I don't understand it, but you know, I guess maybe ammo's stored down there, I guess. But the typical, other than that, we have gun lane drive and gun rammer and wet ammo rack. I wished I could use vents on it instead of the ammo rack, but you have to have the ammo rack on this, wet ammo rack. You have to. Or you have to have it on a perk. You can't take this tank out without some kind of ammo protection. You need a condom for your ammo. Small, and manual, as usual. Speed of 50 kilometers per hour. 600 horsepower engine. It gets up to speed okay. The 28 and 26 turret and chassis rotation, yeah. 4.29 rounds a minute, yeah, okay. It does okay because you're shelling out over 500 damage a shot. Typically. Not always, but typically. You know, upper 4s to low 5s are common. And it definitely makes this tank decent. And it looks kind of cool. It's just different, you know. I like this tank. I liked it better. I did the IS-8 or T-10. And they play pretty similar. But I did like this tank. And that's it. That's the end of my tier 9s, you know. A lot of these tanks I love. If I didn't love them, I didn't really like them, I wouldn't keep them. None of these tanks I'm really grinding, except for the 30B. I mean the 31ER. And the T-54 I'm grinding. I have the T-62A, but I want to get the, whatever the object is. What's the other one? Object 140. I want to eventually get that. And I could unlock this with free XP, but I'm not going to. I'll just keep on playing it slow. I haven't played it that... I don't play this once a month, probably. I probably should just say screw it and pound it out. Take an afternoon and just get the rest of the XP and get, you know, at least on to getting the XP for the next tank. Get the other gun and try it. But I don't think it's that much of a difference. I'm like, yeah, I like the tank. It's okay, but yeah. Is it going to the other one? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to put this right on my MX-30 because it's just the best looking tank. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's the fucking cat's meow, for me anyways. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, rate, subscribe. I know it was kind of long. You know, it's going to be probably over an hour, close to it by the time everything's said and done. And, yeah, sorry. When I do a garage video, I don't just, you know, click through my tanks and say, okay, don't say anything. You know, just click, 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 click. Kind of give you my thoughts on it and what I feel about it. Just so that makes the video a little bit longer, but I hope, you know, it's not too long that y'all hate it. Let me know, is it too long? Because if these are too long, of course I only have the tier 10 to do left, so you're screwed, because I'll probably just do a long one on the tier 10 too. They've gotten progressively longer because I talk more. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because the first couple I actually went through the packages, the camo. So I'm actually not speaking quite as much on each tank at this level. However, it just seems really long. Like I said, 16 videos. You figure you're going to talk at least 3 or 4 minutes about each tank. So, you know, that adds up. You know, I don't feel like I've been sitting here an hour, but I'm looking at my timer here, and an hour and 8 minutes. But it wasn't all. I think there was a few minutes before, but it's been close to an hour. So, again, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's not too long. Comment, rate, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of my garage. What tanks am I missing? What tank should I get? And remember, you're on that battlefield, shoot the red ones.